So this is a video, we don't do a ton of these, but we thought it may be a good idea to do a little bit of a case study about a recent sale that we had with one of our clients on Abbey Street. So bro, let's talk about that, because this was a seller who had been listed with another realtor and wasn't able to sell, so it expired, and then that's when we started working with her, right?
Yes.
So when you first, and you talked to her more than I did, so when you first encountered this client, like where was her headspace after being on the market and not selling?
A lot of frustration.
Yeah.
It was an agent that wasn't near where she lived, so getting them to come over and do anything, including like open house or open house promotion, things like that, was a pain point just from geography.
Yeah.
Let alone it wasn't the agent's lack of desire.
Yeah.
It was just a proximity thing.
Yeah.
For them. So a lot of frustration. It wasn't on the market like through the holidays or at a bad time. It was kind of, I think, August to November.
Yeah.
So it was still a good time to sell a home.
Sure.
Here in central Indiana. So a lot of frustration for her that it didn't go.
Yeah.
Like she'd hoped.
What was so you come in game plan wise, what were the conversations you were having with her around the strategic plan to get her house sold even though she was unsuccessful?
Yeah. So I ran her through our marketing plan, which is heavy on online, paid ads, professional everything, photo, video, all that stuff. All the in-home marketing things that we do that weren't done before. A lot of it we talked about just open house promotion. So we set a plan to go live on a Monday with an open house schedule for that weekend if it made it that far. But that would give us 6 days of open house promotion online to buyers that both came through that week and to ones that would see it online ahead of the weekend first. So also our just listed postcards went out before then as well to let all the neighbors know so they could invite people to the open house too. So we set that plan up before we actually went live.
That's really good, because and no shade to this other agent, because obviously, you know, if you're trying to sell a house that's outside of your market, we've done that before too for people which have relationships or whatever. It's just less effective than working with someone who's local and really knows that. And then I'm also hearing the difference between like put it in the MLS and hope good things happen versus like an actual strategic plan.
Right.
And you can see obviously like kind of a big difference there. So we like to strategize with our clients.
We do.
Figure out that kind of like game plan strategically, not only for the first week, but in the
ongoing,
weeks, in an ongoing way. Yes. So that's cool. Okay, so for this client, talk real numbers. Like what was the result? What happened compared to her previous time on the market?
Well, this seller decided to list it for $10,000 more than it was on in the market for in the previous during the fall.
So it hadn't sold.
It had not.
And coming back to the market, we were like, okay, 10,000 higher than what it didn't sell for last time.
With no improvements or updates to justify it.
Yeah.
So I felt like that was a challenge for us going into it, but we went live on a Monday. We had probably 2 or 3 showings, I think, during that week. A member of our team held it open on that Sunday. And we had 4 or 5 buyers come through the open house. It was a 2-hour window that we had it open. Beautiful Sunday.
Yeah, that helps.
One of those buyers that ended up being the one that purchased it went back and got a family member and their agent to come through a second time during the open house window.
Wow.
And they ended up purchasing it for cash, 100% of list price that evening.
Wow.
After the open house.
So it sat on the market, didn't sell. We put it through the plan. The Waggoner team trademarked, patented marketing plan. That's an exaggeration. But no, but we had a game plan. It was strategic. And then in a week, she had sold for $10,000 more than what she hadn't been able to get. And for cash. Which is amazing.
Easy for everyone. Yeah. And I think the biggest thing too was fitting our plan around. Like I listened to her at our meeting and heard what she was missing from the fall when it was on the market, and then did those exact things the first week. I didn't know if it was going to sell the property or not, but we listened and we executed on what she wanted to happen, and then it ended up working out really well in her favor too.
That's awesome. So we guarantee results like that for every client. No, you would. This is the kind of thing where it's like you hear something like this, and there's a lot of realtors that would really like package this as some kind of guarantee. There's no guarantees in doing something like this, but I think like the biggest takeaway is when you have a plan, you work with a local expert realtor, you have a really good marketing game plan. Doesn't mean it's going to happen for all cash in a week, but
Right.
it sets you up in the best position possible
does.
to maximize what you're going to get out of the
Yes.
sale. And that's really all that we can
That's
do,
our goal,
right?
yeah.
So very cool. And so she was very pleased and very happy.
Oh yes, ecstatic.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool. All right. So if you want Abbey Street-like results,
hmm
we'll try our best, but at least we'll have a game plan
We will definitely have a plan.
for how to market your house. So very cool.